So the video you guys are about to watch is from a hearing in June of 2020, right after I caught the attorneys in the fake divorce trial. And I started filing into my own cases, realizing my attorneys weren't protecting me. They were committing legal malpractice, and all the judges were allowing it. So Mary Kay Holthus pretends like she doesn't see the evidence. She allows Garrett Chase, who is also Bobby's lawyer, to represent Linda Nah. So he's representing both the divorce and this defamation, and that's legal malpractice. Yet they let all of this continue, and I go through 2 years of abuse, filing my own motions, doing phone hearings, and then after they found out, after that hearing, when she realized I knew the law, they stopped doing phone hearings with me and just started rolling in chambers. So you guys, together, we can come together and stop these people. These are 30 judges that need to be taken off the bench and thrown into a prison. Because if you can attack a woman who just lost a child and put her through unnecessary pain and think it's funny, and then get caught and then steal her house too. So I'm asking you guys, stand with me and help me get these judges off the bench and some reform into the state of Nevada. Here you can see in November of 2018, Garrett Chase was representing Linda Nah at the Galvar Appeal Board. They were already representing Bobby in the divorce matter started in June of 2018. So you can clearly see the conspiracy and conflict of interest. You can see here that Shumway Van had very clear understanding of the allegations being made against Bobby Antee and Linda Nah, and continued to represent both clients in an effort tried to use each other's testimony to dismiss the matters and pretend like nobody did anything. On the top left page, notice where he said that Miss Antee signed the title. At that point, Shumway Van, Linda Nah, and Bobby Antee all uttered a forged deed to be true, knowing that it was a forged deed, and in November of 20th of 2018, thought that my attorneys had me so confused that they would never get to trial and that none of this evidence would be seen. Here is Linda Nah's statement to Galvar, and you can clearly see here that she admitted that she didn't know Bobby. She was hired by me, and the agreement was that we would both be listed on title. She also agrees that I never agreed to put $62,000 down. It was always $50,000. She also agrees there was only 3 gift letters, in which none of them were for paying debts. So she also states on the bottom, on January 15th, that I canceled the sale, and that she told me she was sending cancellation documents, and that was the end of our communications. On these 2 pages, you will see that Linda Nah admits that I did not show up to the closing, even though Rena Hughes put in her order that I was at the closing. You can also see that Linda Nah admits that I sent him a letter of agreement while I was at my office. So therefore, they could have not altered the letter of agreement to create 2 letter of agreements when it was sent to them by Form Swift. You can also see that on January 17th, she said I signed the deed. That was Linda Nah in her statement in November of 2018, stating that I signed the deed, which is uttering a forged deed to be true. And any person who utters a deed to be true, knowing that it is false, is guilty of that crime. So the judge stating that I'm causing Linda Nah defamation is absolutely incorrect. Her and her counsel uttered a forged deed to be true and said I signed it. Therefore, they are also guilty of forgery and notary fraud. Linda Nah Purdue is a career criminal. She has no integrity and no morals. She did not feel bad about anything that occurred at the transaction, mocked the death of my son, and then got Bobby counsel once they all got caught. Also notice at the bottom of the last page of her statement, she says, go ahead and call Nikki Bott. So she again acknowledges that Nikki Secaucus Bott was the escrow agent and the notary. But then she states that she works at Stewart Title. But if you look at all the documents, it was very clear she worked for National Title. But this was another attempt for Linda Nah to try to protect herself and tell another lie.
Okay.
I told you to leave.
Okay.
If you didn't want your marriage, leave.
How did you buy this
If
house?
you don't want to be with
and I'm
me,
not on
leave.
it? How?
Cause you wasn't on the loan. What do you
I
mean?
didn't have to be on the loan to be on the deed. So
Man,
why am I not
we'll
on
go
this
over it.
house? Why? You didn't know when you were sitting
It's
there
still your
at the
house.
signing?
What's the big deal?
No, you made it clear to me that
This
it's
is still
not.
your house.
No, you
I
made
don't
it clear
give
to
a
me
fuck
that
about
it's
this
not.
house. I'm about to move out. I don't care about this house. I told you. I said,
Why? If I'm your
if me
friend,
and you
why
not
would you do
together,
it?
if
If
me
I'm
and you
your
not
friend,
together,
if
if
I'm
we
your
not
friend,
married, this
why
house
did
ain't
you do
shit.
this?
You think I want this fucking house?
I was your friend.
This law clearly states that any person who forges or knows of something to be forged or with the intent to continue to defraud shall be guilty of the same crimes. So they acting like Linda Nah isn't guilty of any crimes because Nikki Secaucus Bott forged the notary is incorrect. The moment Linda Nah and Bobby Antee started lying for Nikki Secaucus Bott, they were now guilty of those crimes. This law clearly states that Nikki Secaucus Bott could not collect a notary fee and then also collect the commission as an escrow agent on closing on that loan. This law states that they could not impose a conflict of interest in representing multiple clients over the same issue. They are also defendants on my lawsuit. So they were representing their co-defendants, and not one of the 26 Nevada judges stopped any of this. They condoned it, allowed the abuse to continue, and didn't uphold my constitutional rights at all. This is Michael Van and Garrett Chase, the two attorneys at Shumway Van who have been stalking, harassing, and bullying me now for 2 years since I caught my attorneys committing legal malpractice with them. Nevada State Bar refuses to do anything to stop this, and they have now withheld my property from me and have stolen over $200,000 from the sale of my house. On this filing, you can see that Shumway Van is representing themselves, Linda Nah, and Bobby Antee in filing this motion. Yet Nevada State Bar did nothing to stop this, and all fabricated orders were upheld as all my evidence was ignored and I was abused for 2.5 years. This law states an expert proves forgery, even though I provided a forensic handwriting expert that was court certified and board certified May 30th of 2020. They have continued to attack me simply because I have nobody to protect me and I am a single woman with no power. The moment I obtained the letter from an expert, it again proved forgery, which then proved I was a victim of a crime and I was entitled to free representation and protection from those who committed the crimes against me. No one has been arrested, and each person has been awarded legal fees or damages that are to be taken out of the equity of the sale of my home, which nothing has been returned to me. This is Lindsay Licari on behalf of myself.
Yes, good morning. This is Garrett Chase on behalf of the plaintiffs.
All right, Ms. Akari, your motion?
Yes, I filed a motion for summary judgment. Shumway Van started representing Mr. Antee in June of 2018 over this matter. In December of 2018, Shumway Van provided respondent docs on the behalf of Linda Nah, which produced the mortgage fraud. Thereafter, after producing the mortgage fraud and two statements lying from Bobby Antee and Linda Nah about the transaction, Garrett Chase then filed a defamation suit to harass me. Not because there was defamation, because he produced the mortgage fraud. They were clear and concise. The statements had multiple lies. In Linda Nah's statement, she produced closing docs that she sent to me on 1/15, then closed fraudulently without me present on 1/17, which was not 3 days for me to review the closing documents. I was not present at the closing. They've slandered themselves in your court several times by saying I was present when I was not. They never spoke to me about not being on the title. The lender never dealt with me, and the lender has avoided service several times. So at this point, the legal malpractice is completely evident. The conspiracy is completely evident. They've litigated these cases for 2.5 years over an instrument that was not valid and put me through pure hell doing this after the loss of my son. And I have paid over $20,000 in legal fees over an instrument that is not valid. And Shumway Van has been litigating both cases on behalf of both clients where they had clear and concise evidence of this and have continued to harass me through both lawsuits. And this is unfair. I've proven to you that Rena Hughes' ruling was fabricated, that Jennings and Fulton committed legal malpractice in my representation by submitting no discovery. They did no interrogatories on Miss Na, and this has been allowed to continue for 2.5 years, and not one person has cared about my well-being, my mental health, or anything else. And I want the summary judgment so I can move on with my life, and these people can leave me alone.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. I mean, just looking to the standard for summary judgment in Nevada, it's defendant's burden at this point to show that there's no genuine dispute as to any material facts and that she's actually entitled to judgment as a matter of law on her counterclaims in this matter. And I note that just because the overwhelming majority of the defendant's motion for summary judgment focuses on claims that are not at all relevant to this matter. It focuses on accusations towards parties that are not parties to this matter. It focuses on issues that were raised in her divorce proceedings and in general is mostly irrelevant to her counterclaims. Furthermore, the evidence before the court demonstrates that the summary judgment is not appropriate in defendant's favor. Not only has the defendant not shown that there's no dispute as to what she characterizes as facts within her motion, but in reality, the evidence and the documents that have been put in front of this court repeatedly
they say nothing.
Actually directly contradict the narrative that the defendant has presented again in this motion. Furthermore, there's nothing within the motion, and defendant has not offered anything which would indicate that she's actually entitled to judgment as a matter of law on her 6 counterclaims that were actually raised in this case. Just to reiterate, her motion focuses almost entirely on unrelated allegations and accusations towards non-parties, and even to the extent that she touches on anything related to her actual counterclaims, she again offers no evidence and instead relies on unsupported accusations.
I give you plenty of evidence.
And conspiracy theories, and
conspiracy
that
theories
just cannot be the basis for summary judgment at this time in her favor. There's no admissible evidence to support it. She hasn't proffered any cognizable legal theories that would support it. And so for those reasons, we would argue that her motion needs to be denied in its entirety.
Anything further, Mr. Tari?
Well, they continue to say that there is no evidence. I'm giving clear and concise evidence. If you look on the review documents in Exhibit 8, Linda Nas says, you will both sign because you guys are married. That is in writing. That is prior to any gift letters I executed. That was the agreement. She breached the agreement by holding a separate closing in which there were 2 separate notaries, and she slandered title into Bobby Antee's name knowingly. So that makes her very part of mortgage fraud, and this information was submitted by Garrett Chase. So he knew of the mortgage fraud and continued to harass me through unnecessary litigation in 2 separate cases. So I am very entitled to summary judgment, and I do not want to continue to be harassed through the legal system, Garrett Chase, Grayson Moulton, or Shumway Van. So I ask you grant my summary judgment and allow me to move on with my life.
Sorry, but just as an aside, in terms of them dragging you through litigation, this litigation was simply because of statements and actions taken by you against Ms. Purdue. It didn't have anything to do with the property or anything else. They just wanted you to stop.
Your Honor, I had no encounters with the title company, the lender, or anybody else but Miss Purdue. I hired Miss Purdue, so there was nobody else to blame for what happened but Miss Purdue and the responded docs that she submitted. She lied in her statement several times. So who else would I accuse of doing this besides her if I knew nobody else? And then she conspired with Bobby Antee and Shumway Van for 2 years to conceal this. There is no gray area here.
My understanding is you filed another motion for summary judgment while this motion for summary judgment was pending?
I've only filed 1 motion of summary judgment in this case, Your Honor. I believe Linda Nah then filed for summary judgment on her own behalf, which is also adding insult to injury. She screwed me through the transaction. She then breached her fiduciary duty by getting Bobby Antee, her attorney, to conceal what she did. And then they unnecessarily litigated for 2 years over defamation when she knew that she was the only point of contact that I had. And if you read her statement, she says that.
Your Honor, if I may real quick, just to address your question, we did file a renewed motion for summary judgment on the dispositive motions deadline. Although Ms. Licari did file a motion for summary judgment with these similar claims, she did that in a separate case between the filing of summary judgment in this case and this hearing.
My mistake. All right.
See, how does she know that if they're not all
I
sharing
am going to
information?
deny the motion for summary judgment. Ms. Curry, you haven't shown me that there's no issues of material fact, and so it's not appropriate. So I'm going to deny it. It's set forth in the plaintiff's opposition. Mr. Chase, will you please prepare the order?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you.
Time for another appeal. So you see what I'm saying? She denied it.